Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Voyager, Season 4, Episode 23, The Living Witness. I loved this episode. I really enjoyed this, which is weird because I don't normally like these types of episodes. Those ones where, basically nothing happens, where you get to the end and it's all a dream sequence, or it's all this, or it's all that, and, or kind of to go back to the Year of Hell, that two-parter, where when we get to the end, it basically time travels back to the beginning, and it's like, okay, it was a really cool 2 episodes, and it was a really interesting arc, but nothing happened. There was no consequences. Nobody remembers any of that. And so, it's cool for us as a viewer, but it doesn't do anything for the show. This is technically one of those episodes as well, but for whatever reason, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Maybe it also reminds me of a what if for those Marvel comic book readers. Those were the comics where it was what if Spider-Man never got bit by a spider? What if MJ got bit by the spider? Or what if Uncle Ben never died? Just random stuff like that. So that's kind of what this was. And this episode was directed by Tim Russ, the guy that plays Tuvok, which this is the first of his directing career, and then he goes on to do a lot more stuff, and he does a Star Trek movie, the Of Gods and Men movie. And he's now the 3rd main Voyager actor to direct one, because Paris has directed one, the Doctor's directed one, and now Tuvok has. So anyways, this episode starts out, right off the bat, you could tell that things are kind of weird because the crew is not right. And at first, I was like, oh, is this going to be a mirror episode? Because I can't remember if Voyager has any mirror episodes off the top of my head. I think they do. I don't remember. Which, it's kind of funny, because in Deep Space Nine, Tuvok is in one of those mirror episodes. So, whatever. But it's a warship Voyager, and it's a warlike culture, and instead of the gray under the suit, it's a black, and they also wear black gloves. There's a Kazon ensign. The Doctor is an android instead of EMH. Tuvok has emotions. Chakotay's tattoo takes up half his face instead of just a little bit. Seven is still a Borg. She doesn't look more human, and she has other Borg droids. She has this little army. Well, finally, it turns out that this is a museum exhibit, and that this guy basically talks about how Voyager just destroyed his planet and his culture, and they've been picking up little pieces, and that it's 700 years in the future. This is the furthest in the future any episode of Star Trek has taken place at the moment. So, I mean, this episode's crazy. It becomes more viewer friendly because he finds one of the Doctor's backup modules and reactivates the Doctor, and the Doctor's like, what the hell? This is not accurate at all. Except for Tom Paris. He is like that. And then slowly the Doctor kind of tries to set things right, this is what it was and this is how it was, and basically there's these 2 cultures at war with each other. And the one, giving this exhibit says that Janeway killed her people and helped the other one attack. And it turns out that it was actually kind of the other way around. And so, the museum gets trashed and all sorts of stuff. And even his people are this Doctor is lying or malfunctioning and we're going to destroy it. And the guy's at first he's okay. And then he's maybe he's telling the truth. So he kind of works with the Doctor, and it's kind of funny because at one point the Doctor's trying to create a correct hologram, and he's unfortunately I can't get the data for B'Elanna, which is funny because B'Elanna's not in a couple of these episodes because the actress had just given birth. Otherwise, it would have been great to see what this dark war B'Elanna would have been like. I wonder if she would have been full Klingon. I don't know. It would have been interesting. So anyways, the Doctor kind of gives his testimony, and then it ends up jumping even further in the future, which at this point you're what's happening? It's like Inception, because it turns out that seeing the Doctor, the backup Doctor, work with this museum exhibit was actually another museum exhibit further in the future. And she's yeah, he ended up dying the next year, and the Doctor was one of our great medical people for many, many years, and then he decided to take a small ship and go home. So they don't specify. It could have been 10 years, it could have been 100 years in the future. But, it's insane. It's just, if you get technical, no human character shows up in this whole episode. and no regular cast member shows up in this whole episode. It's all holographic representation, and it's the Doctor's backup module. It's not the actual Doctor. So it's just kind of crazy. This whole episode doesn't matter. Like, nothing happens because of this episode, because it's 700 plus years in the future anyway. But I don't know, for whatever reason, that worked for me, and I was so engaged, and I was so like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? And I really, really liked it. And it's kind of a Doctor-centric episode, and Robert Picardo is such a good actor. Like, I thought he did a great job carrying this episode. And just seeing everybody's evil dark sides. For those who have seen this one, what did you guys think? What did you think about Tim Russ's directing style? What did you think about the episode as a whole? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for the subscriptions and everything. You guys are all awesome. And I will see you guys next time for Demon.